Hello, this is Steve from Beaute's Leatherworks. Today's project is these badass Vasque boots. Now, as I'm learning more about these are vintage. These are probably about 40 years old. I'm guessing, okay, I could be wrong. These were made in Italy, and Vasque Boots is owned by Red Wing Company as I'm learning more about them. Now, these are Goodyear, 360 Goodyear welted boots with the Fiebing soles. Now, these have been replaced on there. These are not the original soles on it. We're going to do something very similar. We're going to basically re-welt the whole boot, add a couple of layers of midsoles. We're going to do a honey-colored Vibram sole, lug sole, just like that. Leather heel base and a leather heel on there. Replace the collar of that. This was been repaired before, it looks like. It looks like somebody just put a piece of leather on top of the existing one. We're going to remove all that, do it properly. We're going to do a light color collar to match the lace color, and also the light color, the honey color, the Vibram soles. As far as the uppers, maybe we'll apply some oils back on the uppers, but these are not bad shape at all, you know. But the guy wanted to kind of change them around a little bit and make them a little more unique to his taste. All right, so let's get started. See, clean hands. I take care of my hands. So we got to protect them because we want to keep them healthy as long as we can. Once in a while I'll forget to wear gloves, but you know, now that I remembered, we're going to keep our hands clean. These are new laces. We're going to reuse them. You just have to find a matching color for the collar. This is the collar. Basically, just kind of protects the ankle. It's got pads. It's got pads in it. Oh my God, man, these are solid. Solid, solid, solid. I'm wearing my little thing here. Yeah, it's cold. It's like 25 degrees outside. Oh, I know some of you guys saying, "Hey man, 25, that's nothing. What are you talking about? That's like sun over here." I know. Oh boy, there goes my camera. Some people live in a cold climate. What can I say? Now these were repaired before. This has been. There's some glue separation on the edges of the soles. You got to be really careful when you're gluing these, because if the surface gets contaminated, it's really easy for that edges to kind of peel back, you know. So sometimes it happens. Now they're on there pretty good actually, but still, you know, just around the edges is tough to keep it from separating. Heat this up a little bit and have that sole come right off, but either way you can do the same. Heat it, put it a little thinner, drop it on the floor. All right. Three rib shank, it seems to be in pretty good shape. Cork fillers. It's not too bad. Now this is fiberboard. That's paper basically, unfortunately. So we're going to replace that with leather. Replace the cork. Replace the welt. It's seen its better days. It's a little bit weak. So we needed basically a good foundation to put everything else on, and this is the beginning of it, so that's why we're going to replace that. start fresh and give it hopefully another, I don't know, another 40 years. Hope so. Leather footbed is not too bad. It's got some surface cracks on there, but it's not bad. Maybe we'll put a thin leather just to kind of protect that area. All right. Now that we've got the footbed out, we can kind of inspect inside here, make sure everything is good. Maybe kind of wipe it down and oil it back up again, just condition it. And then we'll go ahead and start working on the uppers a little bit. Clean that up and oil it, remove the collar. All right, let's continue. It's a bit of a mess with that piece on there. Okay. Look at the inside here. A lot of ankle support. See that piece right there? That's what gives it that ankle support. Some foam in there. Foam is kind of flattened down a bit. Just going to kind of blow that dirt out from the inside. So let me show you guys something interesting. Now this is the footbed. That's the piece that you actually step on, okay? And this is the gemming. The gemming is that canvas piece that is glued on the side. Just like that. And then the uppers come, the welt comes, they all get stitched together. Now some manufacturers will do a holdfast. This is the footbed again. They open up a channel right there. And they'll bring the upper, they'll actually stitch the uppers and the welt to the footbed. This is for the more quality custom shoemakers will do stuff like this. Most of the reproduction, not reproduction, most of the production footwear are done with the gemming on there that's glued. Now, what this manufacturer did, they got the footbed, they sliced that open, lifted that up, and then put the gemming against that. So that's kind of cool, because if the gemming were to come loose from the footbed, the outer wall here of the leather is holding it still together. So the fit inside will never change. Okay. Now, unfortunately, that was pretty much rotted out, so we sanded that. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our gemming back on. We're going to stitch the gemming to the footbed so there's no chance of that moving. And then we're going to cover those stitches with a piece of thin leather there, which will give us a nice foundation. I don't want to change the footbed, okay? Because look at the contours of the owner's foot. I don't want to do that. If I do that, it's going to take a while before these get broken in again. And the whole idea is, if it's not necessity to replace the footbed, then don't replace it. Okay. If it's something that, like for a pair of floor chimes, for example, I did, a couple of weeks ago, we replaced the footbed. We had to send it back to the customer, make sure the fit was good before I could continue it. Stuff like that is a little bit more technical, making sure that it still fits the foot of the customer before you continue the process of whatever you're doing. This way, everything is still molded to his foot. When it gets done, it'll still feel nice and comfortable. Okay, that'll give you some ideas of what I'm doing. All right, let's continue. Now, we don't really care about the foam on the inside. What we want the old leather to make a pattern out of. Okay. This is the piece was, wow, this is just disintegrating. Look at that. So we don't care about the foam. Well, the powder. It's powder now. We just want to get the pattern for it so we can duplicate that. Let's get rid of this top piece here. Wow, what a mess. All right, so that's what our pattern will be. Somewhat of a pattern. We get the idea, at least what was in there. All right, let's continue. So we're making some progress. We've got the collar on. Footbed cover. And before we took it apart, you have to kind of you know, to make sure that you're putting the footbed back into place where it was before, so it doesn't misalign the boot, because you can easily kind of twist it. It's not going to sit right. So you put some guide marks, and then you just kind of transfer those to the new one, then reassemble, and then putting the welt on. This is the leather welt that comes in a roll, flat welt. And we're going to stitch it on to the boot with this jerk needle. I don't know why I laugh at myself every time I say that, because it's like, it's not a jerk with a needle, it's a jerk needle. I know it's getting old. Never mind. Whatever. All right. Let's continue. Alrighty, here goes nothing. Got our first hole in there, and let's start. So I stand corrected. These are made in the USA, not made in Italia. As I mentioned in the past, you know, the shoe already has holes on the uppers where the old stitches used to be for the welt. We are simply following that. We're simply following those holes. Okay? And reattaching it to the new gemming we put on the footbed. And we stitch that gemming onto the footbed, so there's no chance of it ever coming loose. So it'll move and change the size of the boot. Most of you guys don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm talking like you guys are listening to me. So 2022 is almost among us. Almost here. This will be my last video for Christmas. Because Christmas is around the corner. Tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully 2022 will be a better year for everyone. I myself am working on to make some changes in my life. Not personally, but business-wise. And it's pretty big changes. I'm not ready to tell just yet, but I'll keep you guys informed as I'm making more progress with what I'm trying to do. It's a good thing. Oh, I know it's a good thing. what's the old saying? Share good news with people who listen and who care about you, or something like that. I can't remember the quote. I'll have to look into that. Oh, you guys are wondering why I'm wearing this. Not just because it's cold. I went to my brother's place a couple days ago, and this was laying around over there. So I picked it up. So I've got to go clean up his workshop. Machines, tools. I mean, they're just like I have a workshop here. He had a workshop. He did it at the basement of his house. It wasn't the shop. So, but nevertheless, a lot of stuff. So slowly getting things together and cleaning things up and donating stuff that I don't need, and keeping the stuff that I can use. All right, I'm going to continue this stitching this welt, and once it gets done, we are moving towards the midsoles, and we're going to about just get there, about the final product. So hang in there. All right, let's continue. All right. It's looking really good. Check it out. Splice here between the beginning and the end should be kind of flawless. Shank, leather, cork, midsole, sole, heel base, heel, and we are done. Well, a little bit longer. All right, let's continue. All right, so we've got the cork, the leather, the shank, the rubber midsole, the leather midsole. Now, you know, after this gets glued on, most of the time, the welt, the midsoles get stitched together, and then the sole gets glued on, okay? I'm going to do a little bit something different. Hammer time! Okay, so as I was saying, these get stitched, this gets glued on, sanded, and it's done. Now, what I'd like to do, I'd like to stitch everything together, okay, which I think I can. I think it's not a bad idea. because I think it'll be a little bit more secure. But the way I wanted to do it is that I wanted to stitch these three pieces first, and then come back, put the sole, and stitch the sole. We're going to have 2 stitches on the welt. Okay, I'm going to see if I can kind of put them next to each other instead of on top of each other. It'll be two rows of stitching. Why do I do that? So if I just go ahead and stitch this and glue this on, chances maybe if it gets caught on things that the toe might peel back. That's one. Second, if I stitch everything together, then what's going to happen is that, you know, you have to remove it and take all the stitches out and restitch it again. If I stitch it first and then stitch the sole on, they don't have to mess with that second stitch on the welt. That's securing that together, so they can remove this and restitch it or reglue it back on together. What some people will do, if they don't want to stitch this, because this is pretty, you know, this is pretty tough to sew, they'll cut the stitches off. They won't pick them off the welt. They'll just glue this back on. It'll look like it's just solid stitched on there. So I don't know why I'm going to do it, but that's what I'm feeling anyway. So we'll put 2 rows of stitches on there. All right, let's continue. So I adjusted the guide so I can go deep this way, because we want to come as far as we can so we can leave room for the second stitch next to it. All right, broke the thread. It's okay though, this way it gives me a chance to see how deep the stitches are. Not too bad. Now, why did you break the thread? Sometimes it doesn't have enough lubrication on the thread and it gets dry and breaks. Let's try this again. Not too bad, not too bad. I think there's a little room left on the edges for the second stitch. Let's continue. Here goes nothing. Come on now. Alright, gonna give me a little bit of a hard time. Come on. Go. There you go. Come on. Not too bad. Start out kind of rough. Nice. Right next to each other. Looks good. Whew, I can breathe now. All right, we are on our last leg of this project. Okay. Now let's condition the uppers a little bit. This is, okay, you guys read that? Some good stuff. Now, I don't use this product too often because I don't do that many hiking boots, you know, so, but I do have a little bit left over from previous jobs. The top broke, that's why I've got to put it on in a plastic bag so it doesn't dry out on me, which I doubt it will, but you never know. This is what we're going to do. Just apply it on there and just rub it in and let it sit. Now, I'm sure that people who work with this type of jobs will have maybe better products or different products. I'm sure, but this is pretty good. Black Rock is also good. But I don't know if Black Rock is for something like this, you know. This is pretty tough stuff for, you know, hiking outdoors. I don't know if Black Rock would apply to this type of a job. I've used it in other stuff, but not really hiking boots, you know. I mean, Bick 4 is good too. I'm going to put Bick 4 on the inside of the boot, not the exterior, because this stuff leaves it like a Vaseline type finish, you know. So you got to be careful that it will get on everything just about. That's the reason why it's kind of an oily, because it's meant for, you know, hiking outdoors. Bick 4, I don't think it's a good product, but not for stuff like this, because Bick 4 doesn't leave an oily texture when it gets done. This one does, or it's supposed to anyway. So all right, I'm going to buff this on the machine a little bit to just kind of push it into the pores of the leather. And then we should be done with it. All right, let's continue. All right, welcome back. We are done with another project. I think they turned out pretty cool. A little sun in there. Now the weight of the boot didn't change. It's still close to 4 pounds. Man, this sucker's a nice pair of boots. I like it. It's heavy. I like heavy boots. All right, well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Leave your comment, share. If you haven't subscribed, for the new viewers, please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get notified when I upload some videos. Now, if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me, bdos@yahoo.com. Now, I set up that email as automatic response just to show you guys that I did receive the email, and I'll correspond back with you as soon as I can. Please don't send another email asking if I got the first email. If you got the automatic response, yes, I did receive it, okay? And if you've happened to ask a question on Instagram that I didn't answer right away, be patient. I do have a life outside of my shop, okay? Especially at 2:30 in the morning, I may not get to you right away, but there's no reason for you to be a jerk about it, okay? You can't get anything done if you want to act like that. So I appreciate a little bit of patience. Don't forget, I'm not sitting by the phone to answer all the questions that I get, especially at 2:30 in the morning, for crying out loud. I'm sleeping. Well, I do wake up like 3:30 or 4 o'clock, you know, but not at 2:30. Anyway. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it again. You know, I do rant and rave sometimes, but, you know, I truly do appreciate the fact that you guys take the time to watch the videos, to comment, give me some ideas. You know, if I screw up, you know, set me straight. All that is appreciated. Okay. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you guys on the next project. Take care.